Thank you for joining me. I've just done a very long video on the topic of why we need literature and how books can help make our lives better. But I kind of rambled about the books I wanted to talk about, especially one in particular. And so I'm doing part 2 now. Hopefully I'll try to keep it more brief. And I'll talk about the rest of the books. I think it's only, it's just one book left. Oh, 2 actually. And yeah, I want to say my thoughts sounded so much better while I was earlier in the shower thinking about doing this video. They sounded so much clearer, which I think it's why I'm a writer and not a speaker mainly. So if you watched the previous video, thank you again for joining me for the second part. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll just try to summarize it. So I believe literature is very important for our lives. I believe books, storytelling in general, in any medium, be it plays, movies, theater, paintings, newspaper articles. I believe storytelling in general benefits our lives. It makes our lives more meaningful, and I think reading books and writing books is beneficial for everyone. So this is why I choose to write and read books. I'm already rambling. So I'll continue with the other book I had left, which I have not finished reading, but I think it's a very good book from what I've read so far. It's a book it's like a research on women's fantasies, sexual fantasies. It's called My Secret Garden by Nancy Friday. I'll just show you the cover. Isn't the cover beautiful? The cat and the lady and the painting. Yeah, it's quite nice, I think. So this book is about the author. She put together a lot of research, and from what I've read so far, there were lots of letters or interviews transcribed of women talking about their fantasies and why fantasies exist and why do they happen. Because it's not like you have to have a dirty mind to have sexual fantasies, or you don't have to have an unhappy relationship to have sexual fantasies. They just happen from different reasons, variety of reasons. And I thought her approach was very useful because she contacted several women from different backgrounds, obviously, and many, if not most of those women wrote for her anonymously, or obviously she hasn't met face to face with every one of them, but from reading them, they were all really they were writing from deepest of their heart. They were just, many of them felt like they had no one to listen to and to listen to them, and it was like a relief to share their thoughts and desires with someone else. Oh, it just started raining outside. That was random. So it's like sunshine, but it's a little bit like soft rain. Anyway, so as I was saying, I thought the research and the book is well constructed. I can't wait to get back to it, but the reason why I haven't been reading it is because I have moved to Manchester. If you don't know, I moved from Canterbury to Manchester, and I'm just adjusting. And I have been writing lots of children's stories lately, so I wouldn't necessarily want to read about sexual fantasies while I'm writing kids' stories. I just need to be in a different frame of mind. But I highly recommend this book. I think it's well written and well. It's non-fiction, but it deals with fantasies. So it's a unique approach. I think it was very interesting to read about, and lots of these fantasies I thought were like, some of them were like, oh yeah, okay, that's more usual, but some of them were really weird and twisted, and so it's a book that compiles together a variety of fantasies, and I think you would get a really good inspiration for writing as well, which is why I'm researching, which is why I'm reading it. But yeah, because you think as writers we make things up, and stuff happens in our books that they wouldn't happen in real life, and then you read some letters like those included in the book, and you're like, oh, I thought I went that far. I thought I went too far in my novels, or with my plots and stuff. So I think it's a good book to read. Have an open mind and explore different sides of yourself, and I think it's a good read for both men and women to understand each other, but especially to understand women's way of thinking and feeling and desires we have. And as I said, these fantasies that don't have to do just with someone being in a relationship, being unhappy, or just many of them just happen. Especially if you've been in like longer term relationships, and maybe you have your partner is far away, or maybe it's in the army and is somewhere, or it's just abroad and you don't get to see each other very often. I assume many women, if not all, I'm sure some would not, they wouldn't not necessarily, they wouldn't admit, but I'm sure everyone thinks from now, once in a while they think about these things. Sometimes they just happen, unless they have too much on their mind to think about, that they just don't let any room for that kind of stuff. But I'm sure to a certain degree it happens to every one of us. And the fact that I was reading at the beginning of the book, and there were some people saying that just men have fantasies, which I thought, really? I mean, what planet do you live on? Like, why would you think just men have fantasies? It's not like it's the brain. You think about, if you have a brain, you think about stuff. So it doesn't matter if it's like a sexual fantasy, the political situation, a book you like, music, what you saw in the park the other day, or I don't know, random stuff. We think about these things, and it's never good to assume that just because someone is from a different background or of a sexual orientation or a certain gender, they don't think about these things. It's the most stupid thing I've ever heard. I'm sorry if I'm insulting anyone, but this is my opinion. This is how I feel. Yeah, it's just thinking that some people should think in a certain way and only in that certain way. I think it's a very narrow way of thinking, and it is not helpful. It doesn't help anyone improve or grow. So I don't know, I think I'm sounding a bit negative, and like, I don't know, I just think I sounded a bit negative. That was not my intention. I'm not trying to have a go at anyone. I just wanted to, again, encourage people to read and explore different kinds of books, be it fiction, non-fiction, poetry. By the way, I just finished reading last night, yesterday, a book by a lady who lives in Australia. Her name is Bianca Bowers. The book was called Pressed Flowers. And what attracted me to the book was, I read this two lines written by her. She said, we cut flowers, I think she said, we cut flowers knowing they will die. We press flowers hoping they will survive. So I thought that was very meaningful and very well put. I often think about the ephemeral way of life and how things happen and they just like fade away in our memory, and how other things stay in our mind for much longer than others for a certain reason or another. So I encourage you to read that book. You can get it for free, by the way. I wanted to buy it because I really, the lady has like now she has 5 poetry books, and I was thinking which one to get, but and I was thinking to get Press Flowers for the simple reason I like the book cover, and it gave a gentle feel to it, poetical feel to it. And I wanted to get that one, but I subscribed to the email list and I got it for free as a gift to keep in touch with her. I am looking forward to her newest book called Butterfly Voyage. It sounds like a novel in verse, in poetic form. Poetic. A novel can be poetic, but I mean, yeah, a novel written like in a poetry form. I was listening to her this morning, reading from the book and talking about how she come about structuring the book, compiling it, and it was quite interesting. So yeah, definitely recommend checking her out. So yeah, back to the subject. I think reading, there's nothing wrong to come out from reading, I think. It's just a way of opening our mind to more things around us, exploring the world we live in, and just because we can't do certain things, we can't be certain people, that doesn't mean we can't try to understand and enjoy the kind of life other people might lead. So be it that we read books, watch movies, or but for the purpose of the video, be it that we read books for entertainment, for obtaining some sort of joy in our life if we receive bad news, or to learn something. I think books will benefit us nonetheless. And I remember one time, I was like a few years ago, I was working in a restaurant which had lots of Belgian beers. I think it had like over 100 Belgian beers. Because if you didn't know, in Belgium, in Bruges, there's over 350 kind of beers. So yeah, I was working in this Belgian restaurant in England, and I just went to take the food to a table. I even remember where the table was set, and there was this family. I think it was a mom and a dad and their son. And I remember the boy must have been like, I don't know, 4 maximum, and he was holding a tablet in his hand and he was playing some sort of game. And I was like with the plates in my hands waiting to deliver the food, and I was like, they must not be hungry. This kid must not be hungry because he's just like playing this, I don't want to say stupid game, because some games can be beneficial to one's imagination and mind. But I was just kind of pissed off because instead of spending time with your family, you're stuck in and it wasn't just the kid, I think, it was the parents as well. It was just like stuck your face in front of a computer, not of a phone, and you're lost and you're just playing stupid games, in my opinion. I mean, they're not all stupid, maybe for relaxation. But it's just like, it makes me wonder, it makes me worry that the times we are in, they're so digitized that we might lose an intimacy that we can never get back. Time flows. My English. Time flies away. Oh my God, time flies away so quick, and spending time with your family and friends, people you meet, and giving them your attention is very important, I believe. And not to say that digital stuff and technology is bad, because I'm an advocate for technology and allowing us, like, this is what I'm doing is because of technology, sharing my views and books I love with you, to people I might never meet, and maybe interact with some of you that will comment on the video or like it. This would have never happened if we didn't have the technology. But I'm just trying to make the point that we should be very careful how we spend our time. And I think reading a book once in a while didn't hurt anyone. And in the same way, listening to music or doing physical work didn't hurt anyone. I mean, I'm sure as a writer I can think of several scenarios where people have got hurt. But you know, I hope you're understanding what I'm trying to say here. Like, it doesn't hurt your mind doing stuff to improve. It can only help you grow. And the only way I think we should look at ourselves is, and analyze us and maybe judge us, is by the way we were a year ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, and not compare us as much with how others are, because we were not in the situation other people were, and we can never be them, but we can understand them by accessing different things like reading a book. So if you haven't seen my previous video, I just want to talk about, maybe you want to check it out, because I've talked about 3 books. I've got one more book I want to talk about, but that's just briefly. So this book, I've talked about like Dean Koontz, Odd Thomas, Lullaby by Laila Slimani, Beast in View by Margaret Miller, Bonjour François Sagan, Bonjour Tristesse, My Secret Garden I spoke in this video. And I have one more book I was reading last night, and it's like a comic book. It's stories after Edgar Allan Poe, retold by Tony Allen, illustrated by Barry Jones. And I'm really enjoying this book. Initially I was a bit disappointed because I'll show you some stuff. For example, it has illustrations, but they're like sketches in black and white, but they're not all black and white. Some of them are color, but I thought they will all be color. However, I was appreciating them a bit more. I mean, the black and white illustrations, I mean the crayons, the charcoal or whatever he used to draw them. I was appreciating them a bit more last night as I was reading. I was focused more on the story, and this book, I'll show you the cover. Check out this cover, isn't it gorgeous? Like, and I was looking at it from different positions last night, like with the lamp on and the rest of the room mostly in darkness, and it's just like gives you different kind of, not different, but like gives you, it's like this is looking at you from different, slightly different. And this book starts with a mask and ends with death. And I mean, I haven't finished reading it. I'm more than halfway through. I'm reading like a story and a half or 2 a night. I'm kind of finishing a story, starting another one halfway, and then I need to go sleep. So I'm in a way enjoying. Next day I want to get back to reading it. It keeps me going. So yeah, I'll show you how they're structured, the chapters, what I was talking about. It starts with the mask and ends with a skull. So it should be quite interesting. I'm going to show you some other drawings as well. Like, check out this drawing. Really cool, isn't it? And some of the colors. Oh yeah, isn't it this beautiful? As I said, it doesn't have many colored illustrations. They're so-so, but the one I think it's actually very well put together. I'm not disappointed. I'm actually very happy I bought it. And it's an older, I think it's from 1996, 1997. So I don't know if you can find this exact copy online. And the reason why I wanted to talk about that is because, as you may know, I've been writing lots of children's books lately, and I was thinking to do picture books for each story, obviously. But I was also thinking while reading that, I realized that I can do that now easily. I can, because I'm an indie author, I can put all the stories together that I have, and with the illustrations, and especially if I'm going to have like different illustrators, and even not if they won't be different, if you'll be the same person, it'd be nice to have the book compiled with all the stories, and not just a picture book, you know, just like stories, different stories. I just think it was a good idea. Let me know what you think. I am probably going to do it as soon as I know more about what's going to happen with the illustrations. I'll let you know. But I've been, just to give you a few ideas of what's going on. I've been working on like lots of kids' books, and I was doing translations as well, because I want to do like Romanian. I'm certainly going to do Romanian translation, but I also want to do Portuguese and French. But I'll focus on that after I get the illustrations, one thing at a time. And I just want to show you my book as well. You know, I'm an indie author, so I have to like promote my own work, which is awkward, but I have to do it. So I'll just show you. This is the old cover of my novel, and I've updated the cover because I've recently released the French version, and this now looks a bit more greenish and has more thriller vibe, because my novel deals with grief, with what it means to lose someone you love, interacting with people that you never thought might become your friends, you know, unlikely people, finding friendships in relationships you thought unlikely. So yeah, and it has a lot of sex and violence in it as well, not in the same scene necessarily, but yeah, this is what I wanted to talk to you about, all these kind of books. And for the music, if you want to check something out, check out this. It's lovely music. I was listening to it the other day while writing and cooking. So thank you so much for listening. Have a lovely afternoon. Please press the bell button to get notifications for when I upload another video. And please let me know, comment, let me know what you think. I would love to hear from you.